Hello. Hi. Good morning. Hi, Dana.
Thank you so much, Theresa, for being with us this morning.
Of course. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to share this. It actually reminded me of some templates I needed to update. So this also helped me, gave me a reason to look into the account. So I figured we could just do you want to give a couple minutes and then
Yeah, that's perfect. We want to give it like 2 minutes.
yeah.
I guess for those of you that don't know, Theresa is the operations for the Summers team. So she uses this day in and day out, and it's a huge time saver. So for those of you maybe that are just starting and it's really annoying every time you have to type in your broker license, your name, your email, your phone number, this will save you a ton of time. So we hope that you get a lot out of this class. I know I always do. I always learn a new trick from Theresa.
Yes. Yeah, this is something that I've been in the industry. I just hit 7 years, which was crazy. But, this is one of the things that I learned early on, and not sure how I could have been able to do what I've done with the team if I didn't have these tips and tricks these last 7 years.
Absolutely.
All right, well, awesome. I'll just dive right in then. I did want to start off by saying that I don't use the DocuSign through command. So some things may be a little different, but I'm happy to try to answer any questions or help you guys figure that out. I do prefer Zipforms and DocuSign, and just a little, intro in those if you're not familiar with Zipforms. If you do just use DocuSign, Zipforms is a program to just create documents. So all of the PAR forms live in there. So that is where I say, to my agents, that's where we write the documents, and then DocuSign is our signing feature. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing, if you're not familiar with Zipforms while I'm going through it, please don't hesitate to unmute yourself or, ask a question. I want this to be as informal as possible so everyone can feel like they can ask whatever they want. So I'm going to just dive right in, and I'm going to share my screen. My screen's going to share. I'm already logged into Zipforms. So if you're not familiar, again, you probably aren't going to know what this looks like, but this is what my home screen of Zipforms looks like when I log in. I like to keep all of my documents categorized by the transaction address. I run everything by that, and then every document for that one transaction stays inside that folder. Something that's great about Zipforms is that once you add one part of information on one document in that folder, it'll continue through the rest of the document. So on top of the templates, Zipforms also helps just make the process a little easier by having information go through. But to explain what a template is first, I just wanted to show you when I create a transaction, when I have a new transaction coming up that I need to create, how the template works with it. So when I'm starting a new transaction, I'm going to do a new listing just for now. And also be aware that I do everything under Chris Summers' name. So everything will be shown in his information. So don't be alarmed. But I'm just going to name this example, but still do a test address. I'm going to do a category as residential. And then right here is where you see it shows templates. So with the team, we have a bunch of templates. Our listing manager is also on the call. So she is the one that uses this a bunch for all of our agents. We have it categorized by each agent's name. But I'm just going to do Chris and hit save. So what the template does is when I come into this new folder for the transaction, all of the documents that I need for that transaction are already there. And then if I click into a document, it already has all of the information filled out in the document. So then what you only need to input then are the specifics. So the address, price, anything like that. So to create a template in Zipforms, we'll go into that now. It's super simple. So when you are at your home screen, you're just going to click templates at the top. And you'll see if you have, any templates that you then create, you'll also be able to see them in here to edit if you ever need to edit them in the future. So that's why you'll see here all of the templates that we already have created are here. But I'm just going to hit new. And I'll do a buyer offer because I think that is more helpful with these templates. So I'm going to choose that I'm creating a new template. That's a new purchaser offer. You're gonna name the template. So whatever's gonna help you know what that is. For this, I'm just gonna do example buyer package so that Michelle and I don't get confused on this one. Category, 9 times out of 10, I think we all are in the residential industry, so you'll click that. And then down here, there's a couple options. So I always choose do not automatically apply. And then that's when you just saw I had the drop down come up and I chose. You can choose that as well if you have multiple, or if you feel you're going to just be using one all the time, you can choose apply this to all new transactions or apply this template only to residential and purchase transactions. So I think it's easier to just choose it, but if you want it to automatically go, you can choose that option as well. This select template, this would only be, so like when I was making my Teams templates, I would go in here and select one that I could then just copy and kind of just change a few words on. But if you're creating a brand new template, don't click anything here. The only time you would click that is if, like I said, you already created one and you kind of want to duplicate that and just make more. So like Jen, if you did this for your agents on your team, like if you made one, you could then come in, click the one you previously made for say Jen or Laura, excuse me, and then use that one to copy and then change it up for Andre. So that's what that option there is for. But I'm going to leave it blank since I'm creating a brand new one. So then when you hit save, it brings you here where it just lets you then create it. So the first thing you would want to do is most likely add documents, all the documents that you'll need. So up here in the top left, you click add doc. I'm so sorry. I do not click that document. On the right-hand side where it says all forms, I click that. I prefer this way. If you had, say you wanted to upload the affiliated business disclosure, then you would click add docs. You can choose where to upload it for. So this add document button on the left is to upload a non-PAR form. But if you're adding a PAR form, you click all forms on the right. I'm sorry if that confused anyone. Please let me know if you have any questions about that. But for a buyer package, I'm going to get the buyer agency contract in there. Let's also get, a consumer notice, probably the standard agreement of sale, and maybe even an estimated cost. So just some examples of the documents that you might want to add to your buyer package. So then once you have the documents added, you then need to click into the document and add the fields that you want to always be on this template. So definitely the top half of the buyer agency is something you'd want to fill in. So I'm just gonna do this a little, like not fully, but just so you can see how some of the information will transfer. I cannot type this morning. So the buyer's information, obviously that'll change each time, so you don't want to put anything in there. You may even not want to fill in broker's fee. I don't even think there's anything else on this document, no. But what you will see is after I added the information to the top with the office and the agent name, at the bottom, it automatically then fills in that office and agent name. So that is something about Zipforms that I mentioned earlier. It is very awesome about taking the information and passing it along. So then after you're done filling out that first document, you'd want to hit save in the top left-hand corner. Then just go back and you want to go to the next document. Again, this information transferred through since I already added it to the first one. So nothing else I need to do here. So I'm just going to go back, agreement of sale. Again, the small information I added transferred through, but you could go through and add anything you wanted. So for here, I just would want to make sure I'm checking off that box, that box. One thing on an agreement of sale, I always love to make sure is checked off is this this box. So I would make sure that's checked off. That way you don't always have to remember it. But again, that's, the few things that you would probably want. So I would hit save and go back. And then this template is created. So I can go back to the list, then go back to my transactions. And if I started a new transaction, now in my templates, I did example, that example one is here. Let me just save this. You can see now when I add it, I come into this new transaction and none of the documents are there. Why didn't it work? Why didn't that? Sorry guys, give me 1 second. Oh, you know what? It looks like after I change the name, it erases the template out of it. So there we go, hit save. Now when I come in, there it is. So that's something to know. I didn't actually know that. So if you add the template and then you go back up and change the name of that new transaction, it wipes out the template that you chose. So make sure that is still there. So here it is, but then I open it up and again, all that information is there. So that is a template in Zipforms. Does anyone have any questions about that before I move on to DocuSign? All right, well then let's move on to DocuSign. So I'm going to show you a template in DocuSign. And then afterwards, I figured I could then show you how our Zipforms and DocuSign can connect and how those templates can then make the whole process seamless. So in DocuSign, so these templates are, you would think about them a little bit different. These templates are more so just for the signing areas of the document. So you created the document, you wrote it out, filled it out in Zipforms, and now in DocuSign, it's just for the signing areas. So again, templates, well, this is the home screen when I log into DocuSign, in case nobody is familiar with that. But at the top, you just click on templates, new, create template. So the one thing with creating a template in DocuSign is you will need the document that you want the template for that you'll use in the future. So I thought a good one to use would be a tenant application. Like I know our office is great about having the online application process, but some outside offices still ask for like a PAR application filled out, and there is not already a template available for that. But if you create it one time, then for the future, you'll have all the fields available for a tenant to fill out if you ever need it again. So I'm just gonna download a copy of the application so I can use it. Okay, so when you're starting to make the template in DocuSign, I'm gonna call this template example tenant application. I cannot spell this morning. I'm gonna add the document since this is the document that I wanna create the template from. And then adding role. So this is where then you're gonna specify who would be the person doing the fields on the document. So it's going to be the tenant. So I'm gonna put role here, tenant, but I don't need to fill in the name or the email address yet because I don't have anyone that's filling it out. In the future, when I do have someone that's ready to fill it out, I'll add them there. But just adding the role name here is gonna allow me to then place the fields and then know that's the role. So maybe you want the tenant to fill it out first, but then you need someone to receive a copy. So let's say, you want landlord to receive a copy after they're finished. So you can put landlord there as well. You can edit what the message would be. So I always like this to say, please DocuSign, tenant application. This is the subject line that'll actually be in the, your client's email. So you want to make sure that looks nice and, you make sure you have any information there they need. I might just add tenant application, but when I go to send this out, I might want to add the property address just to make it a little bit more personalized. But for right now, I'm just going to keep it as tenant application. So then when I hit next, it's going to take me to the document where I can then start adding all of those fields that we need. So this top section will probably already be filled out from in Zipforms. But then down here, oh, same here, you'll probably add this information in as well. But then it starts needing initials. So right here, I'm going to place that right there. I'm going to need an initial from the tenant. And then the second page is where they need to start being, filling it out. So this first time will be tedious, where you'll then just start filling out every section where they need something. But you can, make yourself feel positive about it by knowing after one time, you never have to do it again. And make sure you're just using, you can just use the full name feature here, because it'll just pull their full name, maybe add a text box here. So you'll just go through adding those, adding everything you need on this document. I'm not going to go through and do it all, but I did want to show that, for example, with this text box, so in these sections where there's I need 4 text boxes in a row, because if they need all these spaces, I want to have them to have the availability. So if I make one box that is the perfect length and size, you can copy and paste them, so you don't have to continuously go through and resize that same box that you need all the time. So that saved me a bunch of time as well while creating these templates. So once you get that perfect size box, it takes forever to get back to it. So once you go through, I'm just going to add something on each page here. So here's another example for the pets.
Theresa, do you need to note them not required? So all of these boxes are now required fields. So if they don't have a cat or a dog, they can't.
You're
so
right.
You do need to go in and do that. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So if you, so I'm not sure if you guys are seeing, but if you click on the box on the right-hand side, there's a checkbox that's checked off showing that it is required. So you uncheck that, and then that makes it from a required box to a non-required box. And you can also see the difference between a non-required box and a required box. So that can be your little tip to look out for it. If it's filled in, it's required. If it's kind of see-through, it's not required. But yeah, thank you, Jen, for bringing that up.
And if you miss something like that after you save it, you can go back and change it, edit it, fix it along the way. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
So guys, for those of you that maybe are a little overwhelmed, so Zipforms is your file, and you're putting all the paperwork that you need in that file. And DocuSign is the little Post-it notes where everyone needs to sign or fill out. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, and please don't hesitate to ask questions if you are confused or if I'm going too fast, because I know I can tend to go through things so quickly, since to me it's second nature. So tell me to slow down if I need to. So yeah, I'm just going to put these last couple fields. So these ones I'm going to definitely keep required. So signatures, though, you'll want to keep required because you need those, and the name too. So yeah, so once you have this here, all the things you need, I'm going to hit save and close. And so then Jen, here you can see the list of all my templates. So yeah, if I did need to go in and make an edit to that, I can just click on it. And there's an edit button right there. And then that takes you back to the, same exact screens we just saw when I created it. So you would just click next, and then you're back into the document.
Theresa, good morning. I came a little late.
Let me hit save and close again. So there's a couple ways to.
Oh, I think we have a question from John Nolan.
Yes.
Hello.
So my question is, this is on Zipforms, but can this also be applied to the DocuSign that's hooked up to Command?
Well, so the part that I'm going over right now is DocuSign. So yes, these templates should be available for you to create and use in the DocuSign from Command.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you need to do is switch from DocuSign Rooms to DocuSign e-signature to create your templates. Have to be created in the other side of DocuSign, not the rooms that are connected with Command. And then you go back to your rooms for processing, and you can pull those templates from where you created them, but you have to create them in the e-signature side to use them in the room side. Theresa, your team doesn't use the rooms at all, do they?
No, I don't. We don't. No.
Um,
Yeah, there might need to be, we might need to do a class where it's showing how these work with that. Cause I don't have, I wouldn't even know how to access that. um, I think you got muted.
in the top right-hand corner in DocuSign, like where the picture is, there's a drop-down box and there's a switch to e-signatures or a switch back to rooms. So here's your DocuSign rooms that most people are using to pull all their things, but you can't create the templates in the rooms. You have to go to that other side of DocuSign to create where you were to create the templates. And it's really easy to switch back and forth.
Yeah. So I just did. So it looks like, that's so funny. I didn't know that. So actually, Michelle, this is our Cardivi. This used to be called Cardivi. And yeah, we used this back in the day. That's really funny. So that's another way to get to it. Instead of logging in, you can just switch from our DocuSign account.
See,
That saves me at least 2 steps.
We have that's where we have so many of our old leases in there that we then, repeat clients, we go in there to pull them when they are re-renting. But I never knew that was that easy to get there. I always Google it and think I have to log in separately. So you just taught me a trick. So thank you. So to use these templates then in DocuSign, there's a couple ways. So if you're just using DocuSign, you can just start by uploading a doc. So I'm gonna upload or drag that tenant application that I have. And DocuSign is really intuitive as well. So here, I uploaded a tenant application and it recognizes that, hey, you have templates that fit that document. So that is what this pop-up is saying. So then I can choose which one. So I'm gonna do the example one, click apply. And then you see, it added those, the recipients that I had added in the template, and it changed the, the message to say what I had said. So then in here, I would, for the tenant, just add them. So, I'll just add me as an example for right now. And I'll just do Stephanie. And then when I hit next, you'll see that those fields I added are automatically assigned to the person that I made the tenant, and they're in here. So then I could continuously use this over and over and over again. Another way to use it though is directly through Zipforms. So there is a way to connect your Zipforms and DocuSign account so that when you're in Zipforms creating your documents, you can then click a button and it automatically takes you, the documents and everything into DocuSign with all of those templates automatically applied. And so that's where Zipforms and DocuSign just where it made me fall in love with them and why I just cannot stop using them, because it's just such a seamless process to me to write them, make them sign it, that nothing else has seemed to be as good in my opinion since then. So I'm going to just get to my homepage in DocuSign and I'm going to go back to Zipforms so I can show you that process. So I'm going to stay with the rental application to keep it simple. So again, I'm just going to keep what's already pre-filled in here. So within Zipforms, there's a couple ways to start this e-signing process. If you just have one document you're sending, when you're in the document like I am now, in the left-hand corner, there's an e-sign button. So if you just want to send this one document while you're in it, you can just click that and it starts the process. But another way to do it is if you're in the folder of all the documents, you can click e-sign at this section and then it'll ask you then click new, but then all your documents show up so you can click off all of them that you want. So there's just a couple different ways to start this, whatever way you prefer. It doesn't matter. They both will get you to the same place. It's just whatever works best for you. So I'm just going to go back. So I just want to send the application. So I'm going to click e-sign. So the first page you'll see is that it's saying, you're sending this. Here's the document. You can double check to make sure it's there. And then when you click next, it's going to ask you the people who are involved. So for a rental application, you just need the applicant. But actually, I'm just going to click off Chris for right now. So you're gonna, if you had more people, you'll see them there. Like if all of your clients are added, you and everything, you'll see them all listed there. So you'll want to click off everybody you have. And it'll keep them organized. But then you'll see when after I clicked next, it then just brought me directly into DocuSign. And then again, since it matched the document to the template, it's asking me to apply the same template I just had. So that's how it can seamlessly go through. Go into Zipforms, fill out any of the information that you can fill out in there before the tenant signs it, click e-sign, check off their name, come through, and then add the template, and you are all set to go. So at this point then I would just need to add the template. It's added. At this section, if you wanted to, because when you do it that way, it does kind of bring you directly into this part of it. You don't see that in DocuSign, the document, the tenant, and the subject, or the email subject line. So if you need to edit any of those things while you're already looking at the document, this actions button at the top, if you click on that, you can edit the message, edit the recipients, edit documents. So like if I edit the recipients, it then takes me to where I could then add the tenant name if I hadn't added them already. And of course, now that I click that, it's going to make me add stuff. Or say I needed to add an extra document to this that I forgot, you can add a document. So there's a lot of great ways to then, edit within here. But then you would just hit send, and it would go off to your tenant to fill out all of the information. So yeah, so that is how they flow through. I'm not sure, did I do that too quickly? Do you guys need to see that again? Any questions? I feel like I went through this super quick, so let me know.
Hey Theresa, it's Kate. I would love to watch that again.
The from the beginning to the end?
Yes, just how Zipform gets into DocuSign. Thank you so much.
Cool. I will start it from the very beginning, like a brand new transaction. So, I have a tenant and they want to apply to a property. So I need to come into Zipforms and get their application started. So I'm going to hit new. This is actually a new lease since it's a tenant application. So I'm going to do example. They're going to apply to 654 B Street. I don't even know. Residential. And then my templates. I have that template. I added pretend this says tenant, but this, I'm going to add my template, save. It brings me in. I got to add the application. Sorry, so pretend that was already in there. The document's already in there. The information's pre-filled. I'm just going to add their address, 654 B Street. Oh, and that is a real address in Texas. So cool. I'm going to say their move-in date is on Sunday. So you would fill in any of that information that you need. I'm going to click save. And then I'm going to click e-sign. And I'm going to send this to my tenant. So this would say your name or, the tenant name, but it just says Chris because I'm in his account. So I click them off, click next, and then I'm right into DocuSign. And then it's going to ask me to add my template for my application that I just created. Hit apply. And then all the fields will show up. But at this point, I just want to go in and edit, make sure my tenant information's in there. If it's not, just make sure, add them quickly. And then it shows now that that's assigned to my tenant. So you can see the recipient over there, but then all those fields are there. And then I would just look at it, double check it, and then click send, and it's off to my tenant to fill out and sign.
Okay, so you clicking Chris Summers would be us clicking our own name. And then in DocuSign, you click the tenant's name.
Yes. So yeah, I'm not sure why it's not showing, because typically, I, when I'm doing this, it's with, so let me do the buyer. So like I was working with a buyer. Once I put the buyer name here, so let me do this. I'm going to use Joe's name because I just need a name. So if the buyer's name is Joe, once you add the applicant's name or, your client's name, when you click e-sign then and hit next, then their information starts popping up. So you would be clicking off whoever you need to sign. So since I'm going through this quickly and not adding like every detail on the documents, it's not showing. But once you would add your client's name, then their name pops up. So you can click their name. But I'm just clicking Chris's off to show you that you have to click it off. But you'll have more options once you add more information to the documents to get your clients clicked off. So be clicking off essentially when you, at this section, you'll be clicking off whoever needs to sign. Whoever you need to then fill out the document.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I've never used Zipform once. I just always use DocuSign. So this is very helpful to know.
Yeah. So I will say this too. So if you've never done it before, one thing you want to make sure in your Zipforms account is if you click on partners, this DocuSign here, mine's already connected, so the button's gone, but there'll be a link account button here. You first need to link your Zipform and DocuSign to make that work. And then I believe after you link it, the last step is in your profile and settings. I believe it's either under products or settings. Under settings, you want to make sure your e-signature options show that you're then using DocuSign. So those are the two things you'll need to make sure are set up first before your Zipforms and DocuSign account are connected and will flow seamlessly like that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And the Zipforms and DocuSign account that we use, that all the agents on my team use, that is free through the GPAR membership. So it's not an additional fee. If you don't have access to these, GPAR, if you reach out to GPAR, they can help you set it up. But Zipforms, it's just through your, what is it, your I always call it NERDS, but it's not NERDS, NRDS number, that number.
Yeah, I know I have it. I just, I've been making all my tenants just fill it out. I pick it up, I scan it. It's like a 1,000-step process.
Yeah. So if you sat down I'll never forget, 5 years ago, one night I just sat down with a bottle of wine and created a template in DocuSign for the seller's disclosure. Because it was I was sick of people, same thing, filling it out, picking it up, dropping it off. And then it was we used that for about 4 years because it was but then they updated the seller's disclosure and I was well, I'm not doing it again. There are some documents though, like the seller's disclosure, that you'll see are already templated from Zipforms to DocuSign. So let me show you guys that quickly. So if you had a new listing and you were getting a listing contract and a seller's disclosure, consumer notice, all that stuff signed, I'm going to go through that with an example. I'm going to do a new listing example for you. So this will be test listing example. So let me find Chris's residential seller, and I'm gonna add myself as the client in these. So you'll see in our residential seller, those are the 4 documents we like to always get signed in the beginning: listing contract, consumer notice, seller's disclosure, and lead-based paint. We already have the office information in, so I'm gonna add myself as a seller. And if you add their email here, it also makes the process a lot easier because then it'll then take the email from here and push it all through DocuSign. So the more information you add to the doc, the easier it does make the process. So let me add myself to the listing contract, and then I'll see when I go to the disclosure, my name should be at the top. It is, but I need to add a property address. Just do my house. All right, so let's pretend, I'm Chris Summers. I just filled all this out. I need to send it to my client. So I'm going to click e-sign, new. I want all 4 of these documents right now. Close. Next. So now here you see it does show, me as seller and Chris as the agent. And so with a listing contract, both agent and client sign. So I'm going to click off both of these since I need both of them to sign. Hit close, hit next. And then once it's all loaded, the more documents you have, the slower it does get, but just have your patience with it. But now scroll through, it already has all the initials. I just want to get down to the seller's disclosure. Here we go. It shows all of these already filled out. So that is the one thing, I can't tell you why, but Zipforms, some documents, if you do go from Zipforms directly into DocuSign, they already do have it templated out for you. But for some reason, some docs don't. Like I know for a fact they do not have it for the applications. That's why I wanted to show you guys doing it for the application. But the seller's disclosure, they did have it. So like they added this maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So I haven't had to do it, thank God, again. But you'll see if you connect them and click off the people at the section where we clicked off the names, it'll automatically assign them the correct people here. But say for like the office docs, like for the affiliated, so like that's one of the documents that if you wanted to add that to your packet of docs and Zipforms, you would have to create a template in DocuSign for that because it won't recognize any non-par documents.
Can you say that again? So you can't use the KW docs. You can't template them in Zipforms. You have to template them.
I'm saying you can. Yeah, I'm saying that's the one. Like I'm saying, any non-par farm, you will have to make any template.
Oh, you have to template it. Okay.
Yeah, because
I just heard it backwards.
Yeah, exactly. It won't it recognizes par forms is maybe why I made that confusing. That's probably something I should do. Template the affiliated business.
Theresa, can you go over how you link the DocuSign and the Zipforms together again?
Yeah, of course. Close out of that. So when you're logged into your Zipforms, this is the home page. So at the top, there's 2 places you'll need to check to make sure they're linked. So the first part would be at the top in this bar of words hitting partners, and then linking the DocuSign account here. And then also in the upper right-hand corner where it would say me with this like photo, click on that and then click profile and settings. And then click settings again in the bar at the top, and then make sure here e-signature options, make sure that DocuSign is the one checked off. So it shows that mine says to unlink it, but yours might say link, like you might see the link button there as well. So those 2 spots, if those 2 spots show that look the way mine look right now, you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
So I have a question that may not correlate for anybody else here because I may be the only team. Each of your agents has their own Zipforms account. And all these documents are in there, but you then have access to them?
No, so all of our agents have their own personal Zipform login that we don't have access to them. We have some agents that Michelle writes all of their documents for and some agents that don't. So if the agents want Michelle to write the documents for her, she uses
their login.
I'm using, yeah, and then we just have access to it
But where my question is going is you sat and for hours templated a rental application. Did each of them have to do that, or can you share it with each of their accounts?
So back in the day, before my team came to Keller Williams, our office only use Zipforms and DocuSign, and the way the office paid and set up for our accounts there, I did have access to share those templates because we were connected. With these accounts, there is not a way. So unfortunately, it would be like that's why it's just like I only template it in my account now. And so I say the agents just allow us to do it for you to save you time, and we can do it faster. But I can't share it with them to do it. The only way would be remaking it in their account. I think there is a way, because you'll see in the templates, it does say to share. Like I have seen that already. Let me see if I can find where I see that. Like share to office. I think it's when you're editing it. Yeah, I don't remember. Like
I don't want to consume everybody's time with stuff that doesn't correlate to them. So when I get there, I'll just, come over and do a one-on-one with you.
perfect. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because I'd love to see if there's a way to make it connected. Like it looks like there might be a way, but if, I don't want to add I didn't want to pay anything more since these are, technically free through the membership. But there might be a way.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions? Or anything they want to see again? Anything that doesn't seem clear? I don't necessarily have anything else.
So basically the bottom line is it's quite labor intensive to get it up and running, but it saves you thousands of hours in the end. So it's worth every minute.
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly. As I said, I took one evening, a bottle of wine, and sat with my laptop while I had the TV on in the background, probably with some dumb reality show, and just got it done. And then it was like, oh, wow, never again.
No, this is very helpful. Thank you, Theresa.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and if anyone, if anyone does need, like Jen, like I'm happy if anyone wants to reach out, schedule one-on-one. If you have just, you particularly, your account's not working, want to see if I can help figure it out, I'm happy to do that. I can put let me stop sharing. I can put my information in the chat. I'll put my email. So feel free to shoot me an email and we can set up time. Either I'm at the Fishtown office, so either at the Fishtown office or over Zoom. But if anyone does want to meet one-on-one, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, if nobody has any other questions, that's all I got.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Theresa.
Thank you.
you're so welcome. I hope everyone has a great day.
You too.
Bye.